To the country, I would like to say first and foremost, I am sorry.
A Labour landslide being predicted by a catastrophe for the Labour Prime Minister in history.
What an amazing reception. We did it! I've just returned from Buckingham Palace, where I accepted an invitation from His Majesty the King to form the next government of this great nation.
Election results are out in the UK. Rishi Sunak is no more the Prime Minister. His Conservative Party has lost. The Labour Party has won by a landslide. Its leader, Keir Starmer, is the new UK Prime Minister. His rise to power marks a monumental shift in British politics. Tonight, we'll bring you the numbers, the reactions, the analysis and the implications, starting with the final result. The British Parliament has 650 seats. The majority mark is 326. The Labour Party has won 412 seats. It's a historic win for them, one of their best ever results, 412 seats. The Conservatives have been reduced to 121 seats, the worst ever performance for this party, the worst in their history, 121 seats. They were in power for the last 14 years. They're also called the UK's most successful party, but this time they've been wiped out. Their tally has dropped by 250 seats compared to the last election. But here's the interesting part. Compared to the last election, the 2019 election, the Labour Party's vote share has barely increased by just about 2%. And the Conservative Party's right-wing vote has split in at least 180 seats, which accounts for their massive loss. Plus, they've lost 20 points in vote share. So you could say that this is not so much a vote for the Labour Party as a vote against the Conservative Party. So what do we make of this result? Here are the 5 big takeaways. Number one, with 412 seats, Keir Starmer is very powerful. He is one of the most powerful prime ministers in the UK's recent history. Today, he promised to turn a page to rebuild his country. He said, change begins now. Listen to this.
You have given us a clear mandate, and we will use it to deliver change, to restore service and respect to politics, end the era of noisy performance.
We'll talk more about Keir Starmer in just a bit, but for the moment, let's focus on Rishi Sunak, the man he defeated. And that's our second takeaway. It's a humiliating loss for the Conservative Party. The British voters have completely rejected them. Sunak managed to retain his parliamentary seat, which is Richmond and Northallerton. It's a Tory bastion, and there were fears of him losing the seat, but he did not. Nonetheless, he suffered a devastating loss, and someone decided to rub it in earlier today.
Our democracy possible. I'd also like to thank the police who have ensured that we can conduct this ballot here on the energetic and the British people have delivered a sobering verdict tonight, with goodwill on all sides. That is something that should give us all confidence.
Well, that was a candidate holding up an L sign right behind Rishi Sunak while he was delivering his concession speech. The L here stands for loser. And the man holding the sign is called Nico Omilana. He's a YouTuber and one of the prank candidates in this election. It was a cheap stunt, but it's also a political reality for Rishi Sunak because he has lost. He's lost his prime ministership and also his party leadership. Today, he stepped down as the leader of the Conservatives. He said sorry and he took full responsibility for this defeat.
I am sorry. I have given this job my all. But you have sent a clear signal that the government of the United Kingdom must change, and yours is the only judgment that matters. I have heard your anger, your disappointment, and I take responsibility for this loss.
This result is a total decimation of the Tories. They're out of power and they've lost several safe seats. And that's the third takeaway. The Conservatives have lost 5 seats. 5 seats held by 4 former Prime Ministers. One of the biggest setbacks came from southwest Norfolk, where Liz Truss was defeated. She lost by barely 630 votes. Liz Truss is the UK's shortest-serving Prime Minister. She lasted in office for barely 44 days, after which she was replaced by Rishi Sunak. And Truss has made a new record today. She is now the first former Prime Minister to lose a seat in almost 100 years. The Conservatives suffered shock losses in 3 more seats, all of which were constituencies held by 3 former Prime Ministers: David Cameron, Theresa May and Boris Johnson. 3 former Prime Ministers. These leaders are now out, but their party could not retain their seats. The seats were captured by the Liberal Democrats and the Labour Party. 12 senior Tory leaders have lost, including Penny Mordaunt. She's the current leader of the lower house. She was once a favourite to lead the Conservative Party, but now she's lost her own seat. So has Jacob Rees-Mogg, a former minister, Gillian Keegan, the education minister, and Grant Shapps, the defence minister. He blamed his defeat on a divided Conservative Party.
On door after door, voters have been dismayed by our inability to iron out our differences in private and do that and then be united in public.
Well, he has a point. The party has been divided for a while now. The defeat will only make it worse. Meanwhile, the far right has gained ground. That's our 4th takeaway. Nigel Farage and his Reform UK party have won 4 seats. Now, Farage himself has been elected to the parliament for the first time. This was his 8th attempt. The 8th time he fought an election, he's finally won for the first time. He was the face of the Brexit movement. He's also a confidant of Donald Trump, the former US president. So you understand his politics. Now, Nigel Farage's win is quite significant because his party is the far right and it divided the right-wing electorate. It took away the Conservative vote. It took away the vote from the Tories. So Reform's vote share potentially cost the Conservatives in 180 seats. And Nigel Farage says that this is just the beginning. He's now aiming for Labour strongholds.
This Labour government will be in trouble very, very quickly. We will now be targeting Labour votes. We're coming for Labour, be in no doubt about that.
There is a shake-up in Scotland and Northern Ireland as well, and that's the 5th and final takeaway. In Scotland, the Scottish National Party has suffered a shock defeat. They got just 9 seats, which is their worst result since 2010, and this is a huge setback for the Scottish independence campaign. Meanwhile, Northern Ireland too is sending a message of change. They have voted out the Democratic Unionist Party. Sinn Féin has emerged as the biggest party here. This is a party of Irish nationalists. In the past, they were linked to militants. You see, the island is divided into 2 parts. One is the country of Ireland. The second is Northern Ireland, which is part of the UK. Now, this winning party, Sinn Féin, was linked to the IRA that called for leaving the UK and uniting Ireland. Now they're part of mainstream politics and they're one big in Northern Ireland, so that poses a new challenge for London. On the upside, Britain has elected its most diverse parliament yet. 87 MPs are from ethnic minorities. This includes 26 Indian origin MPs. 26 Indian origin MPs in the new UK Parliament. 4 MPs are of Pakistani origin. Almost all parties fielded non-white candidates this time. So broadly, this verdict should end months of political chaos in the UK with this decisive mandate and hopefully mark the beginning of a new period of stability.
Across continents, one powerful news source.
Bringing you diverse perspectives on the issues that matter.
We go beyond the boundaries to give you that little extra about every sporting moment.
So thank you for making Firstpost 5 million strong. We're counting on your support, and you can trust us to bring you the news unfiltered and unvarnished.
welcome to Firstpost America. I'm Eric Ham, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Washington, D.C.